Welcome to the SHW podcast.
SHW, this is our wrestling.
Hey, you think you could walk all over me, but I don't see that happening. We're warriors who strike terror into the hearts of others without warning.
And now, the voices of Southern Honor Wrestling.
Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's going on, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for your favorite podcast, the SHW podcast. This right here is our wrestling. I'm B-Double Brandon Benefield alongside the great GB Gerard Bonner, the lovely Diana Michelle, and tonight we are joined by a very special guest. He is the winner of the 2025 SHW RumbleJack. He's earned himself a title shot in October at Still Here 7. I'm talking about the one and only, the Messiah, the faithful, Alexander Lev. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. How are you guys doing? Feeling faithful?
Tonight we are.
Yes,
We'll
tonight.
make the exception tonight because we have a special guest. So, but yeah, I'm glad you're good. GB, Diana, you guys good? I haven't seen you since the RumbleJack last week. So we're still coming down off of such a huge show. You guys good?
Good. I mean, I think I'm finally catching up on my sleep. It was a long, tiring weekend, but yeah, it was a great night. It's a great night. It's great.
Yeah, no, fantastic night, fantastic moments. Just, I mean, massive crowd. Like, it's all the kinds of things you want to have for an event of that nature. So yeah, glad we were a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Over 700 in the Action Building. It was one of two remaining shows. We've got another show in September, which will be our final show in the Action Building, September 12th, as a matter of fact, SHW 77. So go ahead and make your plans now to join us for that one. We're going to want to pack the place out one final time and blow the roof off the place. It's going to be kind of a trip down memory lane, if you will. If you saw the poster got released earlier this week, see some old faces on there. So come out, see your current favorite stars, some of your past favorite stars from SHW that are coming back to bid farewell to the iconic Action Building, the home of so many massive memories, big moments within the walls of Southern Honor Wrestling. So can't wait for that show. But we're coming off of one of our biggest shows definitely our biggest show of this year thus far, the RumbleJack, the 7th annual. And man, oh man, like we said, GB, you mentioned it, packed crowd, crazy crowd. They were hype all night. But on top of the RumbleJack match itself, we also had 3 other big matches. And as we do after every big show, we do the recap. And so we're going to go through the card here. And our special guest, Alexander Lev, is going to be joining us for the recap. And to start things out, well, let's talk about the first match of the night. It was a singles match, a grudge match after a feud that's been building for months now between our guest here tonight, Alexander Lev, and, his former faithful follower, Grayson Pierce. And guys, should we give Lev the floor first here, since he's our guest? Give us your thoughts on the match and how you think it. I mean, obviously, it didn't go in your favor. The end of the night very much went in your favor. We'll get to that towards the end of the episode here. But this first match, the opening match, what are your thoughts?
I'm severely disappointed.
Yeah, as was the majority of the crowd in the building.
Oh yeah,
I feel.
I waited months to get my hands on that Parasite, and it turns out he had more up his sleeve than I could possibly imagine. Fitting another grown human up his sleeve, apparently, with Christian Taylor. And they messed me up pretty well, as you could see, but I don't think it's the end there. I think it would be a disappointment to myself to let it be the end there. How do I describe Grayson Pierce? He's in a great position right now because he knows, with all this momentum that I'm taking up with that underhanded win, he's kind of just still trudging along with me, not through hard work or perseverance, but through any kind of trickery you can get. So
kind of riding the coattails, if you will.
Still, amazingly.
Yeah. By the way, he came to the ring. Well, Christian Taylor, you mentioned, surprised us all, making his debut, coming through the crowd and attacking with that chair. We don't know much about him in the world of Southern Honor Wrestling. Are you familiar with him outside of the walls of SHW?
So, yeah, ironically, Christian Taylor, I helped with him coming up a little bit. He was someone who asked me for advice and how to get better in certain areas, and just looking out for another friend of the business. So it's ironic that, he's going to Grayson now and kind of turning his shoulder to me, you know, it's, and I feel like it was on purpose from Grayson to pick someone that I was, somewhat close to.
Yeah. Yeah. And Diana, I believe, was it the Southern Belle? Is that what we're calling the young lady, the fan who we thought was Lev's number one fan last month, and turns out, I guess, is apparently Pierce's number one fan, number one something, I guess.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I thought he paid her off.
Yeah.
Mm.
We weren't sure what to make of that situation until they started playing tonsil hockey
You-
in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, you thought he paid her off with all of that smooching they were doing?
I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Yeah. Diana, what do
I'm
we think of the opening
disgusted.
match here?
I'm disgusted. I am. I still have questions as to why Grayson is targeting Lev like this. What caused it? I mean, you you lost the I guess the right to be faithful a while back, and it kind of
Yes.
dispersed the faithful ones. But why is he coming after you like this?
When I stopped being faithful, I had to go away. I legitimately did. I didn't say it forever. Legitimately had to step away and find who I was again. And that's why I didn't start saying it that I was faithful again until I finally felt that way. So when we all kind of broke up in that unison, and then eventually I started tagging with my brother the Warden again, but I never went back to really Grayson. Grayson kind of came back to me. And I didn't, he was the guy who kind of blew it in the match against Fluffman with me too. So, you know, I could I could agree that it was my fault. Maybe if I showed him a little bit more attention, maybe a little bit more love, we wouldn't be in this bond or this pickle we're in now, where it's like every corner he's trying to take a shot at me. He's trying to get under my skin, or the way his entire offense against me is like he doesn't want me to ever step foot on the ring again. Um, and then now the irony of it that I do not have a single follower of the faithful anymore. Not including the fans, of course. They have kind of traded it out for the support of the Southern Honor faithful. But now Grayson has his own little group of followers, his own faithful, if you will.
But since we're on that subject, I'm going to ask you, because this is something I've wondered ever since the faithful thing started. What are we faithful to exactly?
It's well, it'd be wrong to be telling. It's more of the more of
The
a feeling.
calling?
Is you when you're really faithful, you know what it's about.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
not. It's
yeah,
not.
Diana.
It's not my place to tell
No,
you what
I
you're
get it. I
faithful
get it.
to.
I
You
get it
know,
now. Because
I
I
think
mean,
we're all
that
faithful to
was a
different
question that
things.
I'd always had. I mean, when you were really getting under everybody's skin with this faithful thing, and you're like, I am Alexander Left, and I am faithful. It was like, what the
I
heck?
was a lot more malicious about it, I feel like.
Can I tell you
And
though?
I always asked every time we got on this podcast and talked about you, what
You
are we
said
faithful to?
you said it's a feeling, and you'll know when you feel it. Can I tell you who definitely feels it? It's that Southern Honor Wrestling crowd. You just
It
mentioned it.
is the Southern
I
Honor
mean,
Amazingly.
over the last
crowd.
Amazingly.
this year, actually, they've just slowly, little by little, more people chanting along, more people throwing the two up in the air. It's just, and the other night was the loudest I've ever heard, and the biggest crowd we've had since last year, and they were all in unison chanting along with you that they are faithful and chanting, "We are
Friday
faithful, we
night
Yeah.
are faithful." It was crazy.
and the Joe Black match, that was crazy.
Yeah.
And I know, GB, I know you got some things you want to address, but I got one more thing I just want to throw in
Go.
because you know, talk about how you came from being literally the doormat to everybody getting into the RumbleJack 2 years ago. Literally laying in the floor, not even in the match, not even supposed to be in the match, but try to get into the match. Literally laying on the floor as people were getting their shots in and walking past you, over you, on you to get into the RumbleJack. And you stayed there the whole night to winning 2 years later, having the craziest match with Joe Black, and now having another opportunity to have that match with Joe Black. Tell me about that evolution from the floor
I
to the winner circle.
it's kind of amazing. It's kind of it's truly an organic change. Uh, and if you would have told me 2 years ago that that's where I'd be now, I'd call you crazy, even though I think I was the crazy one. You look back and when I came into the ring after getting beat up by literally everyone, telling David that I never got in, that I was never eliminated, and David uh, just kicks me right in the head and sends me over the top rope. Diana, you literally said, whoever that guy was is now eliminated.
Exactly
And so
what I
now,
said.
and
I
so
said, what's
now,
his name is now eliminated.
and so now
Wow.
everyone is saying, my name is Alexander Lev, and I am faithful. And I think I attribute to perseverance, a genuineness of myself, where I would come every month and I'd talk a lot of crap, and then I'd get beat up, and then I'd come back and I'd talk a lot of crap, and I think at some point the fans are just like, I can't hate a guy. He just keeps coming back. He's might be annoying about it, but he's got a motive, got a goal. I know it. Somewhat know what he's about. How can you hate that? And then the most surprising in that Joe Black match, I was going to be heavyweight champion, no matter what. I went into that saying, I leave this match as champ or I die, and thankfully I didn't die.
Yeah.
Um, but I tried to give him a hell of a fight up until that point because Joe Black's mowing down guys left and right. Still, even after that match, but I think that was one of the most vicious
Mhm.
displays I've ever done in a match, and somehow that's the match where people were like, "Oh, this Love guy's pretty all right."
You did. You made the believer out of a lot of us, and I am proud of you. I will say that.
Thank
Very
you.
proud.
I'm glad you learned my name.
Right.
I knew your name, but it was so much fun just to say what I said.
GB.
Yeah, let's go back in time because, a lot changed after Still Here 6 last year, where, you lost the right to be deemed faithful. And in your own words, you went to find yourself. And that then manifested itself in December of last year when you kind of showed up out of nowhere to be a part of that triple threat match, which would make you the number one contender for that title shot that you had in February against Joe Black. When you went away to find yourself, what did you find?
Um, that's a great question. I went away and I had to see my own fault. With with everyone I had wrestled up to that point, I was so blinded by this false belief. I feel like when I said being faithful is something you feel, I I ironically before I don't think I ever felt it. I was so annoying about it because I was trying to fool myself. And then, so when I lost it, I looked away. I walked away. I was like, who am I? And I came back and during that period of time, I was lost. And, in December, I declared myself the only one, another,
Mhm.
the only one who could get the job done or whatever you want to say about it. Um, and I just had a real fire burning behind my heart then. I think actually that was the start of the slow, build with the crowd kind of being like, okay, we can respect this guy, and then I the upset that night, I feel like against Rob and Hunter James, And then, onto the Joe match, like we said, I don't think I became faithful again until after the Joe match, where I fully believed in myself. Um, Not for a while after, actually, but I think I just need to find myself. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And I think the why is because I need to fulfill my destiny. And as of right now, that is to become Southern Honor heavyweight champion.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I've got another question that I'll try to reserve to after we talk about the RumbleJack, but I think it's really cool. You talked about the organic rise of you during this year, and we have chronicled the fact that you've had momentum unlike anyone else that we've seen in any given year. The challenging part to that is you managed to build momentum in moments where you didn't always walk away with the win. So, you had the title match against Joe, you had the legacy title match against Kyle. What are some of the things that you learned from those matches that you were able to bring with you into the RumbleJack, particularly after, having that disappointing loss against Grayson to start the night?
Well, specifically in the Joe match, it is brought out a new level of how much punishment you can take. Because
Mm,
Joe's a guy who can take you to the absolute limit, and so can Kyle.
mhm,
But I'll start on Joe. In the Joe match, it brought out I think that was the first time Joe ever reeled from an opponent. Because if you remember back, I had slammed his head against the barricade, and the entire
mhm.
match, Joe for once is, you know, kind of playing
Out of
underdog.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then me being cocky and unexperienced, especially at the time, and I'm not saying I'm a full-time veteran now, but you look back and I'm trying to get by the skin of my teeth in that match where eventually Joe gets back up and it shows why he is the heavyweight champion. With Kyle, I came into it a lot more experienced in a sense of this is what to expect against champion, a champion level talent at Southern Honor. And with Kyle, it was a lot more of who's the better man. I came in there proving I could hang with Kyle Matthews, who's regarded as one of the better wrestlers in Southern Honor. And then taking from both those matches where I failed, I think it's back to that perseverance of you fail a lot and you want to so it gets to a point where you can't let yourself anymore. I already failed against Grayson earlier in the night, and then to unbelievably being the final two against Towers, this hulking behemoth of a man. I can't say wrestling wise, style wise, he was anything like those other two men, but I think it had prepared me to go the distance with a guy like Towers, who in his own right is a top level guy at Southern Honor. But I think I just had that little edge, and the crowd being so in my corner helped too.
Mhm.
Against Joe, it was like that's when they started, coming up with me, and learning to respect me in a sense. And then with Kyle also being universally loved, it was both of us like, oh, these two guys who are just really going at it. But with Towers, I don't think there was a single fan who was against me in that building.
Love it.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I will say this. I don't think you losing against Joe or losing against Kyle is necessarily failing because those are top guys. They are top guys. And you either learn something or you don't. And I think you come away from both those matches with a lot
Mm.
that you gain more than failing. I think you're better because of those two matches.
Yes, I'd say that I learned a lot from those two, and then coming away from it, I earned Kyle's respect. And
And
as of
Joe's.
right now, I'd like to say I've earned Joe's respect, and then he'd go turn around and say I was going to beat the absolute crap out of me whenever we meet in the ring. So I think it's like I would say respect, but I think he understands that he cannot go into this match looking at me like an underdog.
Right.
I think and we could save that more for later because I figured we'd talk about that. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's definitely a strange relationship now.
I'll say, different people show respect in different ways. And I feel like Joe saying that, that's his, in a weird way, that's his way of saying, yeah, I respect you. At least that's how I kind of took it. And yeah, may not seem that way. Like, okay, he's gonna beat the crap out of me, but I just think that he understands. He was in that match with you a few months ago. Like he gets it, and he knows that he was pushed to the limit. And but GB, any more thoughts though on just the opening match with Grayson Pierce and this new stable that he's put together? Seemingly, like we're kind of not familiar with the young lady. What was it? Southern Belle, Diana? Was that
Southern
what?
Southern
Belle.
Belle, yeah.
And then Christian Taylor showing up. We weren't aware of who he was when he showed up, and then we found out later on. We caught his name. But any thoughts on that, GB?
Yeah, you know what's so ironic about that is, as much time as we've spent talking, obviously Lev being our guest, you could make the argument that RumbleJack, that first match was the coming out party for Grayson Pierce. Grayson Pierce, and I've been very vocal about the fact that he, it's like he's been stalking Lev this whole time to try to get his attention. And when he finally got his attention, he was just like, I don't want it, and it was like, wait a minute. And so there was a larger plan at work, and we didn't know what the plan was. But then, of course, it starts to get revealed. There's this Southern Belle who shows up, and clearly she wasn't a hired gun as we thought she might have been at our last show. But then out of nowhere comes Christian Taylor. I think what's dangerous about what Grayson Pierce has done is it's almost like getting your top draft picks from a pool that nobody's paying attention to. So while everybody's looking over here on the right, figuring, hey, he could grab this guy, he could grab this person, he goes to the left and grabs people we didn't expect, we didn't see coming. And all of a sudden, by the end of match one, Grayson Pierce has a stable. Like, where'd that come from? Nobody saw that coming.
Oh, you're telling me.
Exactly. So it makes me wonder, has Grayson Pierce become in one night one of the most dangerous men in all of Southern Honor? It's interesting. I mean, we don't have the end game. We don't have, there was a point where there were just factions everywhere in Southern Honor. It's like they've kind of dissipated, but in the resolve of all of that, here comes Grayson Pierce landing the win over Lev, turning around, introducing us to this. I mean, Christian Taylor looks like a maniac, so you've got that. You've got this Southern Belle who appears to be sweet, but she's rather sassy. I mean, this is a dangerous connection with the three of them. We don't know what their goal is, though later in the night it would become pretty clear that they had a singular target, and we'll get to that as we talk about later in the show.
Yeah, you talked about perhaps being the new most dangerous faction or dangerous people in the company. Definitely the most unpredictable and the most unhinged is the word we've been using for Grayson Pierce over the last several months. Just completely unhinged from the theme music to now this group that he's put together.
Stand the music.
It's just, it's
I can't stand him.
Well, yeah. You and pretty much everyone else in the action building. And so you're not alone there. But all right. Well, that was our opening contest, and what a way to just start the night. We already knew it was going to be a special night. We already knew it was going to be the biggest RumbleJack ever with 40 competitors. First time ever we've had that many. Packed house, and you guys started it off in a big, big way and really got the night going. And then we go on to our first of two championship matches with Paul Walter Hauser making his way back to Southern Honor after it's been nearly a year, I guess, since we've seen him just about. And he's coming off of two big blockbuster movies that are currently out in theaters right now. He's got the Progress Wrestling Proteus World Championship that he's the current holder of. And he was just coming into this night with a singles match against Zicky Dice, and then we knew that he was also going to be in the RumbleJack match itself. Well, with the war of words that started going on with Zicky Dice wanting to put a halt to all the fanfare around the return of Paul Walter Hauser, Paul said, you know what, I'm going to up the ante a little bit, and I'm going to put this Proteus World Championship on the line. And then we have ourselves a title match. Well, going into the matchup, before we could even get started, Zicky then says, let's have a no DQ match. And Paul agrees to it. And then we're off to the races for another just huge chaotic match in what became a big chaotic night altogether. But you guys, and anyone could go first. Diana, if you want to take this one, your thoughts on just the chaos that ensued in this championship match between
Everything I
Zicky.
expected from a Zicky Dice no DQ match. I mean, everything.
But the kitchen sink, but pretty much everything
Yeah,
else.
pretty much. And if he could have fit that down his trunks, he'd have probably pulled that out too. But I've seen him do some crazy stuff. But yeah, Paul Walter Hauser held his own. He fought hard. It was good. He really went tit for tat with Zicky and in his own game, and it came out still holding that title, which is pretty freaking cool.
You know, I almost think that it might have been to Zicky's detriment that he made it a no DQ contest because then that means Paul can do whatever he wants to. And,
right.
you know, Zicky, you know, they get tables involved, big pieces of plywood get involved, and, you know, everybody, each guy went through something.
I've seen him use everything imaginable in a match. And it's from fire to cinder blocks to everything, magic tricks, all kinds of stuff. It's just.
By the way, there were some suplexes on that ramp on the stage there during that match that you guys, Lev, you probably noticed coming out later for the RumbleJack, because I didn't notice till after the show when I went to walk backstage. There's a big dip now in that ramp where one of those bodies went not through but just indented.
Well, we'll get to him more later. I didn't notice anything. I got jumped. So
that's
right. He was laying there.
My bad.
I definitely heard a lot of bodies going around everywhere and thudding. And at some point, I looked through the curtain and I saw Zicky Dice deliver a pile driver to Paul. Frankly, I'm surprised he can still act, let alone walk away with a win.
Yeah.
Just carnage in a nutshell.
Yeah. GB.
Yeah, you know, it was pretty amazing. I mean, it was historic on a lot of fronts. The first time ever that a championship from Progress Wrestling made its way into Southern Honor. For those who don't know, Progress is one of the prominent promotions in the UK. They've done a lot of work with a lot of companies, certainly here in the States, and they've given us some incredible wrestlers who've come through there, Gunther and several others, Pete Dunne, and I mean, like, there's an insane list of wrestlers that have come through Progress. So to have that Progress Proteus World Championship represented there in Southern Honor, just another huge moment in terms of major championships that have been defended there. Now, what's interesting about this is the Proteus World Championship has a unique stipulation connected to it. And that stipulation is that the champion gets to determine whatever the stipulation is for his title defense. So I don't know the wisdom of Zicky Dice making that suggestion, because I think he thought he'd throw the champion off of his game. But, you know, we've seen Paul Walter Hauser come here to Southern Honor and be involved in war games, you know, and win. So he knows how to operate in that space. So, you know, it kind of reminds me of playing Uno, and you think, you know, you've hit that one card and the next person doesn't have it. And that's exactly what they needed. You switch the color to the wrong color. And that's literally what just happened there, as this went right into the wheelhouse of Paul Walter Hauser. We got to see how tough he was. It's his first title defense of that championship that he won back in Vegas during WrestleMania week. And so, you know, it's a big deal. And now, of course, he's heading over to London to defend that championship in a couple of weeks. But a big, big night for Paul Walter Hauser, who gets a huge win over Zicky Dice. And again, we just saw a lot happen in that match. And so shout out to Paul Walter Hauser retaining the Progress Proteus World Championship. Shout out to Zicky, who I'm sure has gotten a lot more attention because of that particular match. I'm sure he would have preferred a world championship over the attention, but this is Zicky. He wanted the attention too.
Of course he did.
So congratulations to both of them. I had to remember what I was talking about there. It's Zicky, for the love of the game.
And another big shout out too to Paul Walter Hauser. We talked about this in the weeks leading up to the RumbleJack. The fact that he was making all these appearances, these national appearances, to promote his movies that are still currently in theaters. And while he's doing that on all these big platforms, he's talking about his match at the RumbleJack. And they're
Yeah.
showing the graphic
Yeah.
of the Southern Honor Wrestling with the RumbleJack and all this stuff. And I'm just like, how cool is that? That
Mhm.
he's going out there and talking about us. And just the fact, and Lev, you could talk to this maybe as an actual wrestler yourself, somebody coming in from the outside who, and he's done, uh, I feel like he's done the work. Like he's done the training. He's gotten in there to prove to all the haters that he's taking professional wrestling seriously. Like he wants to be considered a wrestler and not just some actor coming in here to play wrestler. And so, what are your thoughts from a wrestler standpoint? What do you think about that?
Outside looking in, you'd look at his situation. And you could definitely look at it as like, oh, some guy who, was a wrestling fan growing up, just wanted to try and dip his toes in it and see, just trying to have fun with it or use it as a hobby. And then, most of the time they'd come in and they'd get their ass beat and go, oh, okay, no, this is not what I expected. Paul, I believe he was born to be a wrestler more than an actor, because
Right.
he's walking around, he's more pumped than anyone else out there. Is like that dude has such a love for the business and he's so intense. And obviously, when you see him, especially in the match with Zicky, he's willing to put it all on the line. It's you would have thought it's award-winning violence is what it is,
Yeah.
Mhm.
because it's a mad respect for him to kind of choose, like to step into the wrestling world and give it the respect it deserves because you can tell he's not thinking about it as a hobby.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It's funny. I often think anytime he's with us or just any other promotions, he's been at MLW. He's made appearances with AEW and ROH. He's currently got a thing going on with that dastardly QT Marshall over there in ROH and AEW. But I often think like, what's his team thinking? His manager, his agents, or these people trying to get him these movie roles? Are they looking at him just cringing, like, oh no, don't do that? Like they don't,
uh,
obviously you don't want him injured, you don't want him all cut up and bloodied. You're just like, what is he thinking? So it always kind of makes me wonder what those
Full
folks are
extra
thinking.
makeup. It's
all I'd say,
Yeah,
all I'd say is, good luck trying to stop that man.
yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Right. Right.
Absolutely. Well, we've been
He's
very
so
lucky. Oh, and he's such a great guy too.
yeah.
And
Oh
talking to
yeah,
him before the show, after the show, and like you said, Lev, just absolutely loves the business. And very respectful of the business. Coming over talking to everyone that works with the promotion, and just very cool, very cool. So, we've been very lucky to have him want to be a part of our show last year, and then coming back this year for the big RumbleJack. So, all right, Diana, just start taking your deep breaths. Get ready because I'm coming to you here momentarily. All right. That leads us to one of the biggest Southern Honor Championship matches we've ever had, a triple threat match. And as the great wrestling philosopher Big E Langston once said, we had big meaty men slapping meat. We had our fortune teller here, Diana Michelle, 1 full year ago. She foresaw this happening. She spoke it into existence. Joe Black defending the Southern Honor Championship against not just CT Keys, but also Alex Kane in this massive triple threat match. I know, Diana, all weekend, the week leading up to it, we were like, save the voice. You want to get this just right with the ring announcement. You crushed it, by the way. And
You
it was everything I thought it was cracked up to be. I mean, they were just throwing bombs in there, and it could have been. No, this is no knock on anybody because it really could have been any guy's match,
Mhm.
and it looked to be like it was no telling. There was no favorite really going into it. It was hard to tell. Now, surprisingly, Lev, I don't know if you saw this from backstage, but during the Facebook Live pre-show, just like we say about every Southern Honor show in general, you never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to show up. Well, on the pre-show, it's the same thing because we're in the middle of the live pre-show talking about the card, and out of nowhere, here comes Alex Kane grabbing the headset and telling us straight up that it's going to be him. He's walking out as the champion, and well, it didn't end up going his way. But at that point, who's going to tell him no? I mean, and it really could have been his match, could have been
I
CT's
mean,
match. You know,
Fortune favors the bold. Why
Yeah.
not
that's true.
declare? Because if you declare and you win it, oh, I was like, oh,
You're a
he
genius.
told you, right?
Yeah,
He told
yeah,
you,
Hmm.
but also it's the type of match where it's like, can you blame him
yeah,
for not walking away? I mean, it goes to show you the type of champion that Joe Black is, where he's in this triple threat match, meaning he doesn't even have to be pinned or submitted
yeah.
against the guy who keeps Southern Honor locked down, CT Keys, and a former world heavyweight champion, Alex Kane, and to not think, oh, he's going to lose us. No, they're very much every man in that match can hold his own.
Yeah.
So you walk into that thinking, who is going to win this? And I don't blame Alex Kane one bit. So, with the confidence he's got, he's like, hey, I'm going to win this. Well, sometimes when you got those three components, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, the fans won overall.
Yeah,
That
right.
But yeah,
was a
Diana
winner.
won. Now, GB, I know you got a lot of thoughts on this one, but we got to get to Diana here.
Of course,
Uh,
of course.
all right. You're the one who
I don't
called this
even
match a
know
year
what to
ago.
say. I still get butterflies thinking about this match because it was just everything that I wanted it to be. And it was a clash of freaking titans. And oh my God, these three men are probably the biggest, most solid, just scary to be in the
Yeah.
ring with, hard hitting, seen some things, caused some things, I want on my team. I want all three of them on my team. I'm gonna talk to them later. But for them to go at it the way they did and deliver exactly what I envisioned it would be for these three to be in this triple threat for this title was freaking amazing. It was so good. From I was nervous. I did not want to get tongue tied. I did not want to get so in my head that I was going to screw this up, but it all flowed. It was great and it felt so good. I started crying when I got out of the ring. It was so good. Oh my God, it was so good. I couldn't ask for a better match.
It's going to happen again. I sense it.
It's
I'm
going
sensing
to,
it.
if I don't pass this baton right quick, it's going to, because it was that freaking good. It just felt so good. And I loved it. Thank you to CT. Thank you to Alex. And thank you to my champion, Joe.
Well, you crushed it, D.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, you totally crushed it. I think what's so cool about that is, I know for Brandon and I specifically, we were just as hyped for the intro as
Yeah.
we were for the match itself, because we knew that it was a moment that you were very much dialed into, connected to, you wanted that, and I thought it was super cool to see just the way in which you kind of prepared yourself for a space like that. So I am curious. I most people never get to hear stuff like this, but I'm curious. What did preparation for you look like for a match of this caliber? Because I've heard you talk about, opportunities to, introduce this one. In the almost 6 years that I've known you, this has probably been the most anticipated match for you to announce. What was preparation like for you? What did that look like?
Oh my gosh, when the match was announced officially and I knew it was going to happen, I thought about it every day. Every day.
Wow.
I did. I would go to bed, lay in a bed, trying to go to sleep, thinking, this is how I'm going to do this. This is where I'm going to stand. This is what I'm going to do before I actually say anything. I'm going to go to each one of them and I'm going to tell them thank you. And this is going to be killer. And this is what I'm going to wear. And it was just the whole, I want to make sure everything that they want said about them is announced correctly. Weights, towns, monikers, everything. Joe used all three of his, and that was just it was so good. It was just so good. But just thinking about this particular match so much from the time I knew it was going to happen to even before, even just dreaming about this match happening. I guess that's really all it was. It was just, it was in me. It wasn't just, okay, I'm going to do this match. I'm going to write this this is these two guys or these three guys, and this is what we're going to do. Read them off card. This has been in my soul forever, it seems like, and it came out like it was supposed to, and it just felt just like this, just so good. I mean, I guess you had to feel it to
Yeah.
understand. It's like you when you're faithful, this is that thing.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
came out of me like it was poured out of my skin, and oh God, I can't wait to hear it back. I just hope it sounded as good as it felt, because man, I could have
Well-
blown off after that.
I'm just glad the mic didn't do what it did
Thank
to Billy
you.
Gunn.
I literally was
later in
You
the
know, I
day.
would have been
Yeah.
so freaking
Yeah.
mad.
I know.
And I was
Oh, I know.
determined that ring was going to be cleaned before I stepped foot in. I was not even thinking about getting it. No, we're getting all this crap.
Yeah, could they have found
Out
a
of the ring.
more crumbly table, by the way?
Oh my God.
I know.
There were
That table
screws
was,
all over the
yeah.
place, all over the
Wow.
floor, everywhere. I was like, no,
Wow.
we're not having
Wow.
it. I don't care who's
I'll bl-
mad. I don't care how much
I'll
time
blame
it
it on
takes.
Zicky.
I know it's a long night, but
Yeah,
no.
Mhm. Yeah.
it was an
Yeah. No,
outlandish
was-
table, is what it was.
It was
Yeah.
very much an outlandish table. But no, congratulations to you, Diana. I thought you did an amazing job. I know how much you prepared for that. And I hope that, well, first of all, that's one of the reasons why you are the 5, soon to be 6-time announcer of the year, because you take that kind of effort to put into it. You don't just show up and say, "Oh, here we go," but you prepare for that. And I think people don't consider, people consider a big match and they think it's the wrestlers alone. But how you introduce that is what gives it that big fight feel. So I think you did phenomenal. I mean, we had no doubt about that, but it was cool knowing how special that was to you, getting to see you live in that.
I was.
Yeah, it was, but you delivered, and you showed you were ready for the moment. So that's fantastic. The match itself absolutely delivered as we thought it would. Again, Joe Black, man, like
That's my
I have to say, like, I don't know if there's ever been a better version of Joe Black than what we've been getting on this run. We've had the privilege of watching him go through challenges, go through health issues, etc. But this is by far the best version of Joe Black we've ever seen.
Absolutely.
And, for him to beat these two guys, I mean, all three of these guys are guys that are used to having the strength and intimidation advantage in any match they're in.
Mhm.
So when all three of them are together, it's like, who has the advantage? You don't know. So it was amazing. I mean, by all means, when this gets onto IWTV, you guys absolutely need to go back and watch it and show it to your friends in terms of why we love Southern Honor. It's because of matches and moments like that. So respectfully, Lev, man, good luck, because
Yeah.
that version of Joe Black is far different than what you faced at the top of the year. And that's actually scary to me. That's very, very scary.
I'd be dumb to not understand that, like
Yeah.
it's very clear that with every month that passes, unlike, you think with a champion wrestling of that caliber, their grip on the belt would get looser and looser. But if anything, it's Joe has met every challenge and has risen up. He's evolving constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
And,
he
and
doesn't wear
got
that belt.
Hmm?
I said he doesn't wear that belt. That belt wears him. He is in him. He is champion. He's supposed to be champion. I'm gonna stop because I can go on and on and on.
Well, I'll say, you mentioned how he used every kind of nickname he has, but I feel like it's less of a nickname and more of a persona
Yeah.
he adopts for whatever challenge he needs, whether it's the killer weight or the dread wolf. He's Joe Black will do whatever, he'll prepare however he needs to defend the championship.
Yeah.
Well, we won't have to wait too much longer, because coming up in October, we'll talk about this all at the end of the show, because as you know, we said already, Lev won the RumbleJack. and it looks like
Spoilers.
Mystery's over.
yeah, spoiler alert. I said it in the intro,
Yeah.
I think. So anyways, but can't wait till October. Can't wait to still hear 7. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. I do want to just give a tip of the cap to the 3 matches from earlier in the night, because anytime we have the RumbleJack and there's other matches on the card, that's a hard task for the people that are in those other matches, because everybody's itching for the RumbleJack, the main event. And so the fact that you guys went out there, Lev, and had the opening match of the night and just started it out, on fire, and then Zicky and Paul come in there and have a crazy no DQ match. And then we got this massive, one of the biggest ever Southern Honor title matches in this triple threat. And all 3 matches knocked it out of the park. And then we had the RumbleJack, so.
The quality of the shows, especially that show, is kind of unmatched.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, well, that brings us to the 7th annual RumbleJack match itself. The first ever time that we've had 40 competitors in the RumbleJack. The most we've ever had, I believe, is 35. Maybe a couple years ago, I think we had 31 at one point. I think the year Towers won it, he came in at 31 as a surprise.
Yeah, he did.
And won
He
it.
did.
no wonder he won it.
Yeah, well, yeah. And so, but yeah, so 40 though, being the biggest number ever. Help me out here, guys. What do you think is the best way to do this? Should we list every single entrant,
No.
or just go
No.
through some of the highlights we think?
Yeah, highlights for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
let's
before
do
we
highlights.
get
You
into
can probably
it-
name them, just throw it out there.
And this is no offense to you, Lev, because obviously you winning the whole thing is a huge highlight. But personally, I'm just going to tell you my personal moment of the night was the return of the inaugural tag team champions, and more specifically, Joey Lynch himself being wheeled out in a wheelchair and then standing up in front of that crowd, and Joey and Matt Lynch getting just such a cool reception. And we're just 2 months removed from a near deadly car accident that Joey was in, and the prognosis was not good early on. And the fact that he is where he is now, and the physical therapy is going well, and the fact that he was able to get on his feet in front of the crowd. I mean, you talk about emotional moments. That GB, you look, I was literally choked up and almost at a loss for words when that was happening. But what a cool moment that was. And we can all just kind of go through, I guess, big moments or thoughts on certain moments. But I just want to put that one out there early on, because that for me, on top of all the other stuff that happened, was just a very cool, very special moment that nobody expected to happen. So it was very cool.
No,
Anybody
shout
else?
Out, shout out to Morgan, because she has been through it
Oh,
with
absolutely.
this
Joey,
whole situation with Joey.
yeah, Joey's wife, Morgan. Absolutely.
Yeah, she looked so good and healthy, and just back into her life with her husband there, back on his feet. And God bless them, man. I don't know how
Yeah,
she did that.
it was a very special moment. And again, I think this whole show was about moments. And there were many, many moments in the RumbleJack. I think that one certainly the most sentimental moment. And what was cool about it was we have gained so many fans over the years that there were fans that actually may not have even known
Right.
who they were, which I think speaks volumes to the growth of our company and our brand. What I also think is interesting is, in a 12-month period, we have people like Joey Lynch and Chris Bay, who have dealt with very public injuries and have been able to make amazing and miraculous recoveries. And it's just a reminder that, pro wrestlers are living superheroes. And, as they deal with challenges, they have the fight of their lives, either in the ring or out of the ring. And when you get to see what men like Chris Bay and Joey Lynch have been able to do, it's remarkable. It is absolutely remarkable. And so I'm glad that, the RumbleJack was able to highlight a moment like that for the inaugural tag team champions. And then to get to see Matt actually back in the ring was equally significant. So shout out to them. Just what a moment. What a moment. And yeah, it's floating around on the socials now. Just a very, very powerful, powerful time. And again, one of the many things that happens in the world of Southern Honor.
Yeah, for sure. And there's plenty more we're going to get to here as far as like big, exciting moments that had everybody grinning ear to ear. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, one moment that had us all initially just completely rolling our eyes was, I believe it was entrant number 7. We got chainmail, but the record-setting chainmail, I should add, because as soon as he stepped foot in the ring, he pulled a Santino basically, and as soon as he got in, I don't even remember who eliminated him, but he got sent right back out.
Wasn't it Mike
Yeah.
Jackson?
It might have
Mike
been.
Jackson
I
got
think it
him?
was.
It may have been.
I think it was either
I-
him or Machismo, one of the
Yeah.
two.
It
It
may
might
have
be
been
one of the
Machismo.
best moments of the entire night.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't break a sweat. It was like, thanks for coming out.
Well, you mentioned Mike
Yeah.
Jackson, action Mike Jackson. I'm not even sure. Do we know how old that gentleman is?
75 years old.
75
That's
years
a lot
young.
nicer than what my guess was going to be.
Yeah, 75 years young the other night because he's in the ring. He's still got it. He took Hunter James up on or he walked the ropes when he had Hunter James in that wrist lock.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane. Then he did it again with Bryce at one point.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
how is this guy doing this? It's amazing. But
Amazing.
yeah, special guest on top of special guests. We saw Black Machismo. GB, how awesome was Jay Lethal showing up as Black
Yeah.
Machismo in the RumbleJack at number 2?
At
Wow.
number 2, you talk about, it seems like number 2 historically, number 2 or 3 always seems to have somebody that we just never saw coming. One year it was Stevie Richards, another year, it was all kinds of folks. So
Always, Steve.
I did not. I tried to just move past it. I did not know.
I'll tell you later,
We would
Lev.
have. Yeah, we would have a Jay Lethal sighting in Southern Honor. Like that's insane.
He's such a performer. He is
Yeah,
so
oh my
good at
goodness.
what he does. He's such a performer.
And so, kind of the moment then that happened with him and the returning Ashton Starr, just
that was so good.
just brilliant. Listen, the way Brandon's laughing right now, Brandon could not keep himself together. I mean, it was
It was a whole Elizabeth
man.
Macho Man moment. It was so
Totally,
good.
You'll have to
totally.
forgive me when you go back and watch it on IWTV because at that point I could not keep it together. I didn't see it coming, and it caught me off guard, and I
Yeah.
lost it. And GB, I was like, just you carry it because I gotta collect myself here.
It was great.
Lev, I don't know if you saw that moment because maybe before you got out there. I don't remember at what point in the match, but
Yeah,
they
it
did the
was.
Macho Man Miss Elizabeth, but it was Ashton Starr.
I can only imagine.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
great.
Brilliant.
Anyway.
That's
Absolutely
perfect.
brilliant.
It was great. That's the thing about RumbleJack, and I said this the other night, and even on a post on social media. Like, not only is it just one of the biggest shows in general, we have one of the biggest crowds every year for it. It's turned into this homecoming of sorts and a reunion of sorts because we're seeing a lot of old faces we haven't seen in a long time. And, maybe we only see them at RumbleJacks or we haven't even seen them since 2 RumbleJacks ago or whatever the case. And so you mentioned Ashton Starr being there, David Ali showing up, and Lev, we'll get to that here in a little bit about you and David Ali and what's going on in that situation. But Matt Lynch was one we talked about earlier. But you're seeing all these old faces that you haven't seen in a while, and it's so cool to catch up and reminisce and all this kind of stuff before the show, after the show. But on top of that, you're getting special guests, surprise guests you never thought you'd see in a Southern Honor ring. We talked about Black Machismo. We talked about Action Mike Jackson. Let's talk about Billy Gunn. You hear the DX music hit, and you're like, wait a second. What in the world is this? And so you heard me make the crack about the mic earlier about, thank goodness the mic worked for Diana. We had one moment where Paul Walter Hauser comes out, and he's like, Billy, come on. Can you do the thing? Please. The fans want to see it. Let's just do the thing. And unfortunately, I feel like the crowd still got the gist, but the mic decided to, crap out.
We have been using that mic all night for everybody.
Yeah.
It worked when Paul Walter Hauser had it in his hand. Billy grabs it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the electricity that Billy carries. He just jacked it up.
Yeah, it shorted out on him.
Microphone isn't a Billy Gunn fan; it's a Kip James fan.
There you go.
Ah,
Maybe that's the case.
Nice callback. Yes. Okay. Well, I tell you what, though, the crowd still understood what was going on. The crowd still got to say it,
They
but it was
did.
also cut short by those dastardly members of the Skulk cutting off
hmm
Billy Gunn right when he said, I got two words for you. But anyways, it was just another big moment, one of those big moments of the night. A big surprise guest that night. Somebody that we knew was going to show up that had started sending in some videos and started a war of words with our Jake the Snake Legacy champion. That being the TikTok star, the content creator, Smallest Spark, who has never been in a ring before. But I will say this, and it may not be on IWTV just yet, but there are clips that have made their way to our Instagram account on the social Southern Honor Instagram. So go check them out there. But Smallest Spark shocked a lot of us with how well he did in the ring. You know, he pulled out the John Cena special and went right after the Jake the Snake Legacy champion. I thought he
Yeah,
did a heck of a job. What'd
he
you guys think?
did. Absolutely. He shocked me. I think he shocked Bryce.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit.
yeah, yeah,
A little bit.
Well, that's
yeah.
not what I meant.
He
I
was
said
great.
something like that the
Well,
other night on
you
commentary TV. You
did,
said, "I see what
you
you did there,"
did.
and I was like, "I didn't even mean to
hmm
do that. It just
Yeah,
happened."
yeah,
Talk about somebody else though, kind of like I mentioned, Paul Walter Hauser coming in and just being so respectful of the business and so kind to all the people behind the scenes. Smallest Spark, one of the same thing. They're coming in here. He's got 6 million plus followers, 7 million across all the socials, whatever it
hmm
is. He's got a ton
hmm
of followers,
Right.
and he
yeah,
comes in there and just very respectful, very very friendly, and so it was fun to see him just kind of living his dream at least for one night. And so,
yeah.
but what'd you guys think? I know everybody got a chance to really chit chat with him afterwards or before.
Super nice. Super. I
Yeah.
talked to him a little bit before the show. Super nice guy. Very like just wanted to soak up everything and was just amazed. And he was walking around the ring and I was like, dude, just get in the ring. It's fine. Just get in the ring. And it was just like a kid in a candy store. He was like, just getting in. But he
Yeah.
he kind of eliminated himself, not really, but he kind of knocked himself out, kicked himself in the head, and Billy just picked him up and dumped him out. It was kind of crazy.
After Billy gave him the scissor party,
Oh, absolutely. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
we got all the hits.
Yeah.
We got all the hits.
That's
You talked
great.
about him getting in the ring. He spent most of his time hiding under the ring.
hmm hmm
Yeah, but
He
Good
Not
did.
many
strategy.
people can do that.
Very
it
good
was a good
strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm just thinking about all of these combustible elements in one place at one time. I mean, you've got the two-time Emmy Award winner, Paul Walter Hauser. You got Smallest Spark. You've got Jay Lethal, aka Black Machismo. You've got Billy Gunn. I mean, like all of these incredible names that by themselves would be an attraction
Mhm.
all together at the same time. Smallest Spark. And I mean, like it's really remarkable what we have going on here at Southern Honor, and what a night it was. And again, what a match, what filled with moments. But geez, that was amazing. I think for
That's what he
me,
calls star-studded.
Yeah.
that's exactly what you would call it. Star-studded for sure. For me, I think what was interesting was two things. One, the return of David Ali, which I
Oh
have to
yeah.
say he was in the best shape of his career without question. And then the fact that we had um, four four
Yep.
of the last six RumbleJack winners all in that match at the same time, which was downright amazing. The only two that weren't there was the first winner, and then Joe Black, of
Yep.
course, who is the current champion. But all of the other winners were in that match, which is remarkable when you consider that. And yeah, go ahead.
Well, and I was just saying, then they all were kind of in there towards the end at the
At the
same
same
time.
time,
And I was going to
yes,
say this, and you mentioned, Corey Hollis was not there. He was the winner of the
right,
first one. However, he kind of stole that win from Logan Creed. And, well,
yeah,
in this universe, Cruel was there towards the end
hmm
too with those other four
yeah,
winners. So it was still kind of
yeah.
like almost like the first five.
Almost all of them, yeah.
And then Joe Black, of course, not in the match, but it was just kind
Right.
of crazy to. I was thinking the same thing as you were saying it because I'm looking at the list, going, "Oh yeah, we had all these former
Yeah.
RumbleJack winners there at
Yeah.
the same time. It's just insane."
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, one thing that coming off the last show, we talked about it ad nauseum probably at this point, but it's worth mentioning here again because it kind of bled over into the RumbleJack. We saw the most disgusting display we've ever seen before from Gunnar Miller at last month's show, spearing Miss Faye, center of the ring. Well, boy, oh boy, did Miss Faye get some payback. Boy, oh
Mhm.
boy, we did not ever expect to see the number 40 entrant. We hear Ozzy's Crazy Train blaring through the speakers, and still nobody knew what it was exactly until her name pops up on the screen and you hear the crowd pop. But then Gary Lamb comes out through the tunnel. Then you see Matt Griffin. They get in a little fight up there. But then back in the ring, Miss Faye comes in through the crowd, low blow to Gunnar Miller, and then that allows Gunnar to end up getting eliminated. So that was cool. But what I thought was very interesting is almost like you saw Cruel, this the atrocity, this monster, and we thought, oh no, Miss Faye's in trouble here. And then they both kind of looked at each other and went, eh. And then he just gently picked her up and put her on the outside. And thankfully, she was safe and she was eliminated. But just what a whirlwind that whole situation was.
It was
And
good.
it was nice to see Miss Faye get a little bit of payback there
Yeah.
on Gunnar Miller. But your
Yes.
thoughts of seeing Miss Faye entering at number 40 in the RumbleJack? How
I
crazy was
loved
that?
it. I think I called it. I think, well, yeah, Faye's gonna. Yeah, what if she won? She didn't win it, but still, she got her.
Could you imagine her main
Faye
eventing
versus Faye
still
versus
here?
Joe Black.
Yeah,
Jeez.
still here.
Oh,
7
gosh.
main event.
Wow.
I love you, Miss Faye.
Wow.
I love you, Miss Faye, but
Wow.
never in a million years. Holy cow. But hey, it's pro
Mm-mm-mm.
No,
wrestling,
she did
stranger
what she needed
things.
to do. It was great. I'm glad she got her piece of Gunner, put him in his place, put him on his knees. It was good. Good for her. Good for her.
Yeah. Good night. Great match. And of course, it led us down to the finals, which, you know, somewhere around the final four or so, you had Austin Towers, Alexander Lev, and then the infantry. And, it looked like Carly Bravo perhaps could have repeated, but then the Skulk shows up to eliminate both members of the infantry. And now we're sitting at this space where we've got Alexander Lev, Austin Towers, which David and Goliath, like what in the
Oh,
world
I'll add there
are we
too.
gonna
David was there at the end with us too,
David was
That's
in
right.
there.
Yeah.
David as the
and
third guy.
there I don't want to brush past it, but there was definitely a moment where David, we made our peace from our 2 years of at least one side of animosity.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
there was a time where Towers slammed me, and I looked in the corner and I saw David, kind of debating if he wanted to hit the punt kick or not, because it's a kind of, and I don't blame him at
Mhm.
all. I'll say that first. I don't blame him at all because it's a fend for yourself type of match. You can't have any friends, but it was that hesitation that caused Towers to literally boot him out of the ring.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to brush past it. There was a very real chance David could have repeated.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
But I don't know if he heard David outside the ring, but he was
He was
really getting the fans
yeah,
behind
leading the
you.
crowd.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was. Where's Unfaithful? I mean, I was like, wow, because
Yeah.
y'all were supposed to have a match, and it just
yeah,
wasn't
we
in
were,
the
and
wasn't in the plan.
and it didn't end up happening, but
Wasn't meant to be.
in that match, I respect David Ali, and I feel like I've gained respect from him as well. So down the line, maybe we'll wrestle. So we definitely teamed up a little in that match against Grayson. Um,
Yeah,
so excited to see where that takes us.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it ended up being me and Towers for the actual lumberjack portion of the match.
Mhm.
And I was going to ask, say, so once we got through the Rumble part, you guys end up in the Jack. The Lumberjacks come out, they surround the ring. It's you and Austin Towers. And where is your kind of just take us through that portion of that match because where is your head right then? Because you've been dealing with Grayson Pierce earlier in the night. Grayson and Christian Taylor attack you again on your way out to the RumbleJack. You somehow survive that. You make your way into the match. And I think here's to be honest with you, once they attacked you on the ramp, Pierce went ahead and got in the ring. He made his
Yes.
entrance. And I think a lot of people may have forgotten that you were still on the outside. So
Hmm.
then when you did make your way into the ring, everybody's like, oh, yeah, Lev's still in this thing. And so the fact you made it to the final two, kind of, yeah, just take us through that last portion of the match when it was just you and Towers in there. What's going through your head?
Uh, Trying to get on my feet, because
Yeah,
it's kind of unbelievable. I was like trying to get my wits about me because I had gotten the crap beaten out of me throughout the entire night, even though I was one of the later numbers, and then a relatively fresh Towers. Um, and it's like in that moment trying to make a game plan. Trying to think, is he gonna come at me fast? Is he gonna do the slow approach? You just be ready for everything.
yeah. Well, the thing is, and sometimes it happens in lumberjack matches, sometimes it doesn't. But when you have a lumberjack match, when the any of the opponents spill to the outside, the lumberjacks, their job is to get them back in the ring. Well, for the most part, lumberjacks really didn't have a whole lot to do because you guys pretty much kept it in the ring. And
Towers, I think Towers made sure he knew if I ever got away from him, it would, that would be his downfall, which it did end up being when Grayson
that's right.
and Christian ran in. But he was very, very intent on keeping me grounded and wherever he wanted me at. So sorry to the Lumberjacks if they were looking forward to keeping us in there, but
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, man, you in a way you shocked everyone, but in a way you didn't. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. It's kind of like you've had such a run this past year, and GB's been saying it for months and months. For somebody who doesn't have the best winning record this year, you still have had momentum like the entire time. And so it's a rare thing to see. And but it's been fun to watch and it's been fun to call it from our perspective. So congratulations to you on one of the biggest wins of your career thus far. And good luck moving into October once you have your championship match with Joe Black. And we're not done with the show yet, but I just wanted to give you your props here on a huge,
thank
huge
you.
win.
Thank you. It
So,
was
so
very unreal, very emotional.
what are your plans if Grayson and his goons get involved when it comes down to your title match? Because that could be a mess for you. Be a
It
missed opportunity.
could. I would hope.
Do
Hmm.
you have any friends, Lev? Do you have any backup?
I don't have a great answer for this.
We're
Um,
your friends, but I don't think you want us as
You
backup.
don't want
yeah,
me.
I
Sorry.
mean, if you want to come off the commentary table, maybe we get a mixed tag match.
Okay.
I
You
I learned my lesson.
I'm
I'm
not
done.
gonna say no.
Diana
Of
versus
course, you're
Southern
not going to
Belle.
say no.
I'm
Yeah,
not gonna say
now.
Um, I don't know. I don't know who I can trust because at one point I did trust Grayson to at least some extent.
Mm,
Yeah.
Um, I think maybe there is an understanding between me and Joe. Because they got involved in the match between me and Towers,
yeah.
and Joe came out and try to make it as equal as it could as
Mhm.
he could. So maybe this is wishful thinking, but if they came to rain down on our match, maybe me and Joe take a bit, have an understanding, and get out the unpleasantries. But
I can
there's
see
really no
that. I mean,
telling.
I feel like he would want your match with him to be that, be everything it's supposed to be between you guys instead of having some
And who
goofballs.
knows? Maybe we make a stipulation where Grayson can't come ringside, or Christian, or anybody who's a part of their little ragtag team. Maybe we write that in the contract somewhere. I'd I'd like that. Now that I
Yeah.
say it out loud.
yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be
I
necessary
love a
for
good
sure.
match without all the shenanigans from outside. I love that, but we don't always get it.
Well, time will tell, and we'll see how things develop. Of course, we still have one more show before we get to the anniversary show in October, and that is SHW 77, our final show in the action building as Southern Honor presents Leave the Memories Alone. and we'll be coming to you live from the Action Building, 261 Marietta Road, Canton, Georgia, for one more time, and it'll be September 12th. So go ahead and mark it on your calendar, make your plans, and you know what? We've put 1,000 people in there before. It's been, 6 years. It was 2019 we did that. So yeah, but we can do it again. We hit over 700 this past month or this past week. So I don't see why we can't go higher than that and pack the place out. You know what? At this point, blow the roof off the place. You know what I mean? I heard people joking about this next show needs to be like all hardcore matches so we can like throw people through walls and
Oh, to tear up the
it's going to be
building?
the last show. So just go to town.
No.
But
No.
no, I'm just kidding. That's just been joked about.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
But I do think the crowd should blow the roof off the building in a figurative sense. And if it happens literally too,
And
so be
and
it.
I saw the poster and I did see a few of the older faces. Danny
That's right.
was on there. Return of the Mac. Can we get it?
There's a rumor that
Can
we
we
might
get
get a certain AC Mac, the loudest mouth in the South, as a third man on commentary. That's what I
That
heard.
would be amazing.
Just throwing it out there. I don't know if
Would
it's
be amazing.
the ink is dry yet, but I think that's what might be happening. Spoiler alert, folks. But yeah, we saw a lot of old faces, some OGs on that poster. So you're definitely not going to want to miss it. I mean, it's going to be it's going to serve as like a tribute night as well for the building because, like I said earlier, so many moments, so many memories in that space. It's just been an incredible place. And it's going to be a very, very special night. Of course, we're going to have more episodes of this podcast prior to September 12th. But I'm just putting it out there now ahead of time, giving you plenty of heads up if you're watching us to go ahead and make your plans, invite as many people as you can, and let's just pack the place out for one final time. But before we start winding down here, any final thoughts on the RumbleJack itself? And then we'll let Lev kind of give his final word to the people.
When it comes out on IWTV, be sure you're watching it. You don't want to miss it twice.
Yeah, it is by far show of the year candidate.
Yes.
Without question, this was just something very, very special. What an amazing moment to be there live. What an honor to call that. And again, you guys have to check it out on IWTV.
Lev, any final words here for the fans?
Yeah, real quick. When I saw the poster for the last show in the Action Building, I understand that I'm a RumbleJack winner, and the popularity with the fans, and I it makes sense, but that I'm on there uh, with all the momentum going into these next shows, but it meant a lot to me because you look at all those little photos behind the actual people in that poster. You think about all the years of history in that building, and me having one of the shortest tenures out of everyone that's ever wrestled there. It meant a lot to me being on that poster and featured because I don't take it for granted. That's going to be a very emotional night for a lot of people, and I grew up in that area, so the fact that I'm going, the fact that I get to be a part of it means a lot to me.
Don't
And
you make me
it's
cry. I will beat you down to
yeah.
the ground. Hey, don't you do it. Don't you make me cry.
And while I'm keeping my composure right now, I have no idea how me or anybody's going to be that show. And while it's cheesy to say, you never know what happens. You never know what'll happen at a live show. You've seen with this last RumbleJack with all the surprises, with it being the last show of the Action Building. You never know who's going to show up or what might happen, and it's a must-see event. And I think, for lack of a better word, it'll be magical.
Will be.
Absolutely.
For God's sakes, Rock and Roll Express was in that building, okay? Okay?
So many.
That was huge.
And I know once we get, closer to the event, we'll probably have a whole episode of this show where we talk about all the biggest memories and our favorite moments and all that kind of stuff. But Lev, I gotta say, over this past year, 2 years, however long it's been, you debuted 2 years ago? I think
2 years ago.
Yeah, and so you've added to those big memories that have happened inside that building. So it's been a pleasure getting to see your progression. I mean, we've talked about it before, but we called your very first match at the Nightmare Factory all 2 years
Oh
ago
my
or
God.
longer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So to see you
Yeah.
from there to where you are now has just been an absolute
Crazy.
pleasure from our perspective, and it's been very cool to watch and to just see you progress even farther and see how far you go. So
I've enjoyed the evolution of Lev. The whole, you stinking menace, I just want to slap you out of the ring with your craziness, to what you're doing now. I mean, all the stuff outside of Southern Honor, NWA stuff. I enjoy doing your makeup. It's cool,
Thank you.
It's a thing.
And if you were ever
Yeah.
unaware, Lev, Diana doesn't mince words. I mean, she doesn't hold back. She'll
I
tell you
don't.
what she thinks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, because
Yeah,
you
I'm glad
used
I
to
did
get
not
on my
get
nerves.
smacked out the ring. Yeah.
I used to roll my eyes so hard when your music came on.
Yeah.
It was
I'm sure you weren't a
wonderful.
big fan of me taking the microphone.
Ooh. But we're friends now.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go. There you go.
That's great. I'm
Well,
glad.
well, Lev,
I
again,
love you.
thank you
Love you
so
too.
much. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate
Thank you for having me, man.
jumping on with us. And we will be back, though, with more episodes of this podcast before September 12th. But like I said, go ahead and put it on your calendar. It's a big one. SHW 77, Leave the Memories Alone. Southern Honor's final show in the Action Building. Put it on the calendar. I cannot tell you enough.
Can't miss. Can't miss.
It's can't miss. But we will see you next time on this podcast. And until then, this has been
SHW.
And we are faithful.
Oh, what
And
a
there it
Sorry,
serve!
is.
Kirby. Sorry.
There
What
it
a
is. No,
swerve.
no. That's perfect. That's perfect.